Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again. And I'm here with Colin Headings. How's it going, Colin?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Well, doing pretty well. I'm holding up as best I can, like we all are.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So we just want to talk music today and kind of get some of your insight as we move along the interview. And hopefully this will be helpful to some of the students we've got at Benjamin Logan and kind of go from there.
Sounds good.
So let's see. You're basically a senior at Ohio State at this point.
Yeah, it's my fourth year, but I have a year after this, so it's winding down for me.
How has this second semester been?
It's been a big adjustment. I think a lot of the things that I'm having to do aren't super dependent on being in a classroom, which is nice. I was already in like one online class, which is good. And then I've just been doing a lot of arranging. I'm in an arranging class right now. So I've been finishing that up and just writing a lot of music education papers,
Yeah.
basically.
And so you have next semester to finish up, right?
Yep. I'm going to be doing, fall semester is going to be some jazz studies classes that I need to finish up. And then I'm going to be student teaching next spring, hopefully.
Colin, I know you're involved with the jazz club at Ohio State in some capacity. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I've been the president of the jazz club for the past 2 years. And I was the vice president before that. So we've just basically been all about like trying to get artists and musicians to come to Ohio State to give like lectures, master classes, performances to our students, basically just trying to give our students a little bit of a better idea of the world of jazz and the musicians that are out there, and trying to get people outside of Columbus too, which I think is important.
So let's talk music in general. So talk about what music has meant to you throughout your life.
Okay. I think it probably started from a young age. My dad is a choir director, so he's always been, listening to music and working with music. And my mom is also a fan of music and is musical herself. So it probably started when I was young and like going to church and things like that, hearing hymns and seeing my dad in the contemporary praise bands. I think that made an impression on me.
Sure.
As just something that's enjoyable to listen to. I don't think I really made the connection between what the music actually meant at that point. But that's probably where it started. And then I was kind of heavily, it was suggested to me to take piano lessons. So I started taking piano lessons, and that's when I really realized that was something I enjoy to do myself. I didn't always like to practice. I always wanted to do what I wanted to do, which is still an issue that I'm trying to work through, but
I think to a certain extent we all suffer from that.
Yeah. But it's important to practice to be able to do the things that you want to do. You got to build up those skills. I think music has always been to me kind of a way to express myself if I'm playing it. It's kind of like an extension of what you feel inside of yourself. And it's cool to share that with other people or to just like share it with yourself. And it's kind of an escape in a way too. I've always been kind of an introvert. That's probably no surprise to you. And it's always been important for me to be able to be by myself and just kind of relax at the end of the day or whatever's going on. So music has always been a part of that for me. And yeah, it's been just a way for me to decompress and kind of get more in balance with my own mind and everything like that. So yeah.
I feel like this is turning into a philosophy interview.
I know I get really deep into things. I'm
No, I
sorry.
love it. I
But
love it.
no, that's
I love it. We can go that direction. I'll talk all day about that.
yeah, that's fine with me.
So talking about kind of inspiration and kind of music being an extension of yourself, who's inspired the music that you're making
Oh man. Hmm.
or writing or composing?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is like the people that I listen to. Um, I listen to a lot of jazz musicians, so they're kind of people of the past, and seeing what they did back then has made an impression on me now because it's like, how can I take that, what they were doing, and how can I like internalize that and change it to make it something that's more relevant to who I am and stuff? Because like I like the blues, but I would never want to sit down and just write like a simple blues and call that like my greatest work ever,
Sure.
you know. And it would still be fun and it would be cool, but um yeah, I like to make things relevant to myself, and I think that's what a lot of the jazz musicians did too. Back in
What
the
I was
day.
going to say, I think a lot of times when we make things relevant to ourselves, we're in essence making it relevant to others
Yeah.
because so many people experience the same things we do.
hmm And that's another thing I was going to say is I get a lot of inspiration from my peers too and my friends. Um, you know, I'm a music major, so I'm surrounded by people that are writing and listening to music. So yeah, seeing what they have accomplished and what they've achieved kind of drives me to improve myself, and kind of like it's a little friendly competition for me in a way.
So let's talk a little bit about performance. What have you been doing? Well, I mean, before all this hit, where were you performing? What were you doing? What were you
Uh,
up to?
Well, I am currently in like a band with my buddies Isaac Bednarki, who's another Ben Logan alumni, Logan McPherson, who's another Ben Logan alumni, and then our pal Tobin Shumrick, who is a music major at OSU. So we're in a group called Okra, and we were having a lot of fun gigging around Columbus and writing some new music, and then all of this happened. So unfortunately, we can't meet up anymore. Um, so we're trying to figure out ways to maybe write some new stuff through the internet and stuff like that, but we're
Sure.
working on that. And then in addition to that, I was in the Fusion Combo at OSU, which I got to write some originals and arrangements for. And I was in the jazz ensemble at OSU. So, well, I still am. I wasn't, now I'm not, but
Yeah.
I still am. And yeah, we had a Thad Jones concert in February that went really great. And we were gearing up for the jazz festival. And then the week before the jazz festival is when everything got canceled at Ohio State. So we have been taking a couple of those songs that we were going to do, and we've actually been recording them and then splicing them together with kind of a virtual jazz ensemble thing. So I'm pretty excited to see how those turn out.
Yeah, that'll be neat.
hmm
What were the tunes you guys are working on right now for that?
Um, we were doing Groove Merchant. It's a Thad Jones tune.
Mhm.
And then we were doing an arrangement that one of our saxophone players did of the tune Peace. And he kind of did it in like a bossa nova style. So I had like a flugelhorn little solo part that I was doing in that. So that was a lot of fun. And then Fusion Combo, we actually got together my composition that I did last semester, and we're trying to get that together and get that in a virtual thing too. So I'm excited for that to turn out.
So, out of all those performances you've done, or I guess from high school all the way up until now, where's your favorite place to play?
Ooh, man, That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I mm, I think in high school, I always liked playing for, I think, like improvising a cure was always great because it was a more casual kind of setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, everyone was just like having fun and talking with each other, but also listening to us, and you could tell that everyone that was there really appreciated what we were doing, and they really supported us. So that was always a good place for jazz ensemble in high
Yeah.
school.
And a lot of times you don't get a chance to see that when the hall is dark and you can't see anybody's face. And,
Yeah, and there is something to be said about like, yeah, like concert band and being in the auditorium too. I always have fond memories of that, but that's almost like a different kind of feeling as a
sure. Yeah.
performer, and I'm sure as a director too.
Oh yeah. Yep. And
So
fortunately, improvising a cure was one of the things that we couldn't do this year.
yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I mean, that would have, well, I guess that would be this upcoming Thursday if we were still
Oh
having
man.
it. It would have been this upcoming Thursday. So unfortunate because, man, everybody, we would have had a great concert. That was going to be
Hmm.
like, so.
Yeah, I always looked forward to that.
Well, you got to sit in and play with us a little bit, I think a few weeks, well, heck, it's probably
Yeah,
a month and a half ago now.
yeah, that was, yeah. Whenever I came to Ben Logan,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't remember. Oh, I think it was over your spring break.
Oh yeah, it was. We played some Big Dipper, and I took a solo that I wasn't that proud of, but
All right.
um, yeah. I think. Oh, I didn't really talk about like college performances, like what I'm doing
Oh
now.
yeah. So go on to college.
Um,
What do you like to perform on?
well, I always liked playing in like Weigel Hall at Ohio State. Um, it just has that feeling. It's a really big space, and it's just kind of a cool feeling to play in front of a lot of people there. But of course, that's like not open right now. So,
Yep.
man, I don't know. I guess we took a trip last year in jazz ensemble to Elmhurst, Illinois, like outside of Chicago, and we were at their jazz festival there, and we performed at this like chapel on campus, and it was beautiful. Um, and we had some like jazz, like Randy Brecker and Mike Stern from the Brecker Brothers, and Bill Evans, the sax player. They were all judges there.
Oh,
So I think, yeah. So playing in front of them and then playing in that beautiful space with a bunch of people that appreciated that music was also really cool, I think. So that was a pretty fond memory.
well, and in kind of going off of that, it's always fun to perform for people that appreciate what you're trying to,
Yeah.
or at
Hmm.
least have an understanding of what you're trying to do too.
Yeah. That's one of the, I don't know if it's a challenge, but it's just kind of a thing in the back of my mind when we've been performing with Okra. Um, I think our music is a lot different than a lot of the bands that we have been playing with, because a lot of the other bands have been just like more rock inspired bands, which, and they're all really talented and they're great. I love listening to that, but it's definitely been a change uh, for the audience to listen to us, I think. So
I think the last time I saw you guys would have been, well, it was this year. I think you guys played in.
it was in October.
It was in October, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was? Okay, but I really enjoyed that concert.
Yeah, well, thank
Concert
you.
performance. What do you want to call it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's part of the, that's one of the cool parts about having kind of a different sound than other bands too, is you offer something unique that the audience can listen to, that's not just the same thing all the time.
Do
So
you ever have audience members or other band members that maybe are on the lineup with you that compliment or talk to you about hearing that different sound?
yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, we've gotten a lot of compliments um about our whole thing, and most of it is like, man, you guys sound like really different than what we're doing, or
Yeah.
what we've heard before. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's a compliment.
Well, that would be a compliment. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
good. I mean, if you're always hearing the same old thing every time you go, if I'm an audience member and I've heard the same thing 1,000 times, I want something different.
Yeah.
Good thing. And let's
Mhm.
see, the big band at Ohio State played at the Holland in the fall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
For that, yeah,
That was great. Yeah, we played for the opening
yeah,
kind of concert that they had. Yeah. It's beautiful now on the
man,
inside.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Mhm. And
So
you guys sounded great too, by the way.
thanks. Let's see, that would have been Parker and Max and Robert. There's a little trip.
Yeah,
So two freshmen, man, they held their own up there on stage.
they did.
They're gonna they're gonna do really well.
Yeah. No, they
Yeah,
will.
they're great musicians, and I better give a shout out to Max in case he watches this. He
It's
is also
true.
a great musician. I don't want to leave him out. So
He is, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So let's kind of flip back the clock. So put yourself back into your high school or middle school shoes,
Okay.
and kind of looking back at your career at Benjamin Logan. What were some things, moments, or performances, or advice maybe you got from some other teachers that stick out as like helping mold you or put you on the path towards music for a career or just to continue in music?
A lot of mine are centered around like jazz, I think, because
Well,
it
well,
just had a big impact on me.
well, I mean that's a big. I mean you're majoring in it. I mean
Yeah.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
what are those? What are some of those things?
Um, I think going all the way back was probably the first concert of like the first middle school jazz bands at Ben Logan.
Did you remember that first performance at all? Where was the first performance? Was that
I think
improvised?
it was no, it was in the middle school like gymnasium. We had it set up. I think it was the spring concert. I think we only did one concert.
Yeah. Well,
And
right, because if you would have been eighth grade, you wouldn't have had improvising here didn't exist when you were in eighth grade.
yeah, I think the first year was my freshman
Would have been
year.
your freshman year. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was my first opportunity to like solo and take that kind of lead position. I was like playing lead trumpet too, I guess,
I
technically.
wish we had the clip that we could.
I don't wish that we
I
had
know
the
you probably
clip.
don't. We
But
probably. I'll be completely honest. We probably do have the clip, but it's probably on the iMac at the middle school, and I'd have to.
uh,
Or no, we didn't have the iMac then. I'm sure we. You know what? I bet we have the clip, but it won't matter because I can't go find it anyways.
there we go.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that.
Quarantine saves my image, my self-image.
Saved by the quarantine.
um, but no, that was a good opportunity for me to kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit and start getting more comfortable playing in front of people. Um, like I said, I was always an introvert and kind of shy and had a lot of social anxiety, and I still do. But yeah, that kind of started me on the path to being able to play in front of people and expressing myself in that way. And then yeah, going through high school, you started to give me some more you know opportunities to solo eventually once you knew that I was capable of it. um, I don't think you jumped the gun with that in any way,
Three
because
degrees.
I think I was still really nervous about it.
You were.
um,
You were.
I was just given a lot of opportunities to get outside of my comfort zone in the music programs at Ben Logan. And for me, especially, that was a really scary thing at first, but it really taught me how to like be more confident in my own abilities and, share music with other people. And I think that really had a big impression on me. And it's something that I still think about to this day. Um, yeah.
Well, because I think ultimately, it's kind of like a little process. You have to be confident in yourself in order to be able to share it with somebody else. And so, if you don't have that confidence, I think, and you as a music education major, this, like, how do you build that confidence in your students so that they want to share what they've done with other people?
Yeah.
And that can be tough.
Mm, I think a lot of it in a music ed sense is um, just reinforcing like good habits in your students, whether that be practicing and getting more comfortable with the music, which is something that I tried to do to build up my confidence, or yeah, just giving them opportunities, like we had at Ben Logan, because the more comfortable you get with something on your own, just preparing for it, then you'll feel that much more comfortable when you go out on stage and you have to do it for real.
Sure.
And it's really not like, in terms of high school, if I'm speaking to like high school students here, um, it's not right to say it's not a big deal when you go out there on stage and you have to do a solo or something like that. But everyone out there is there to support you
Yep.
and support the bands, and all of your peers should be supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have that foundation of support. So even if you go out there and you play something that's not up to your standard, everyone is still going to tell you that they enjoyed it because they just are seeing you share your talent with them. And that's really what it's all about. It doesn't have to be perfect Berlin symphony, like Haydn, like, yeah, it's just,
doesn't have to be a Schubert mass, an E
no,
flat.
no. Oh gosh. They all love so much.
Yeah, they all love it. So hey, if you look back at let's stick in high school.
Okay.
If you look back into high school, what was your favorite performance? Like, if we could plop you down back in that performance, what would it be? Relive one of them, not to correct anything, but if you could, if you could just be part of it again.
I think I really enjoyed playing with the Glenn Miller Orchestra back in 2016. I think that was, which it is something that I would like to correct because I messed up my solo a little bit, but just having those professionals like side by side with us, it gave us, I think, like a bar to play to, and I think we played really well that day.
We did,
and it was just a really good energy, and we all were super excited about just playing music, which was great.
Fun to open for them.
Yeah.
I know they were. I remember, well, the one comment said, "Man, you're going to play Duke Ellington and you're not going to program any Glenn Miller." I said, "Sorry, man."
No, why would we play Glenn Miller when the Glenn Miller Orchestra is there?
I keep thinking that's why I didn't program anything.
Yeah.
It would be a little too cheesy.
Yeah.
When they were there. Yeah.
That's like performing a Bob Dylan cover for Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan asks you to play something.
Yeah, man. So, and if I remember correctly, wasn't it the very end of that? What did we play at the end? In the Mood, of course. And pretty sure that didn't he turn to you and say, "All right, man, you got this."
Yeah. Well, we both played it together.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, because I that was that high D. I didn't quite have that, but I squeaked it out barely.
And that video is out there someplace of that.
I think it's still on my dad's Facebook, maybe.
It's on YouTube, I think, someplace.
Someone's Facebook. YouTube.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun that night. The whole thing. So who have you been listening to?
Oh, man. I've been listening to a lot of Charlie Parker. Not specifically just him, but his music. I've been having my trumpet lessons with Byron Stripling over Zoom. So he's been giving me a lot of bebop stuff to listen to and try to incorporate that into my improv, which has been great. Mm-hmm. So I've been studying like Kenny Dorham, playing Charlie Parker stuff. Confirmation is the tune we're working on. Been listening to Kenny Dorham and Clifford Brown, Clark Terry. So it's been a lot of trumpet players for me.
Sure.
But other than that, there's an artist, his name's Alpha Mist.
I haven't heard.
And it's ALFA MIST, Alpha Mist. And he's like just a musician from, I think, London or England somewhere.
Okay.
Makes really, really cool jazz influenced soul R&B. It's kind of one of those things that it's not really a genre.
Yeah.
It's just him. It's his music that he makes, but it's really cool. He's very talented, and I've been trying to take a lot of his ideas. He's mainly like a piano player. So I've been trying to take a lot of his ideas and incorporate that into my own writing, which has been a challenge, but it's been fun. And then I've heard a lot of good things about the new Fiona Apple album, so I'm going to check that out today. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, who I hadn't. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Bria Stoneberg lately,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
um, and I hadn't listened to a lot of her before. I think she was with the CJO. I know she was at Gen, then she played with the CJO, and I thought I would have. Well, and I went to that concert. I went to one of. Well, I
Hmm.
called you that day. Now,
Yeah. Oh, we had dinner afterwards.
oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
we had some pizza.
Oh, late night slice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, forgot all about that. There it is. Um, so, if you had a chance to collaborate with another musician, past or present, and
Ooh.
maybe they're not alive anymore, but if
Mhm.
you could sit down and you had 20 minutes, who would it be? Who would you want to talk to?
I think for sure it would be Herbie Hancock for me, or Chick Corea.
Okay.
And they're both piano players,
Yeah.
and I
And both currently alive, so
both currently
this
alive.
could
Yeah,
still happen.
it that'd be a long shot, but who knows? I mean,
Send out an email.
yeah, it's true. Um, no, just the way that they approach music and the crazy amount of knowledge that they have, and it just seems like everything they play is brand new, even if they're improvising.
Yeah.
That's just amazing to me, and I would love to be able to sit down and pick their brain and maybe try to even keep up with them in some way. But yeah, they're two like living legends for sure that I would love to talk to and collaborate with.
What a great concert we watched. Was that this
Yeah,
fall?
it was in
Herbie Hancock?
August, yeah, I think, down in Dayton.
Yep.
That was fantastic.
It was great. What advice would you give to high schoolers that either want to continue playing or maybe they're majoring? What advice would you give them as they go into college?
Um, I think
Or honestly, as they don't go into college, maybe some just want to play in the community.
yeah. Um, I think if you're interested in continuing to play, make sure you find the time to practice, even if it's a little bit. Um, you might get in a profession or get to a university where you don't have a lot of time to do that. But I think I've found a lot of joy in just having time to practice. And then that translates into still being able to play my instrument and play in ensembles and make music with people. So that's one piece of advice I would say: just keep playing, which it seems simple, but it's important. And I would also say keep an open mind about everything in general, but also about music specifically. Um, there is a ton of it out there, and you never know what might stumble into your path that becomes something that's your new favorite thing in the world. That happens to me all the time. I
Yeah.
just find albums on Spotify randomly, and they're just I'm like, where has this been all my life?
Yeah. Yeah.
So keeping an open mind, and I know a lot of people love to listen to like their 2 or 3 albums that are like, yes, Journey Greatest Hits is my favorite music of all time.
Yeah.
But I think keeping an open mind and searching for other music that you may not have heard before um, might lead you down some paths that give you new opportunities and new sounds that you haven't heard, and it's just like kind of fulfilling for your life in general.
Sure.
Yeah. And then keeping an open mind about everything in general. That's just a good rule for life, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I think keeping an open mind makes you a lifelong learner.
Yeah. And then being a lifelong learner, you always have more knowledge that you can share with others too. And
Yep.
I think that's
What was that? That Oh, who opened for Herbie Hancock? Who was it?
Kamasi,
Oh, come on,
Washington.
Washington. Yeah. So the one thing he said at the concert, each one teach one.
Yeah.
I really like that, and
Hmm.
it stuck with me. I know.
Yeah, and you can learn a lot by teaching other people. Not saying that every high schooler has to become a teacher or anything like that, but yeah,
Well,
you learn how much you know by having to teach someone else.
but with that being said, every high schooler, we work on making or at least moving high schoolers towards position of leadership, and
Hmm.
good leaders teach and they
Yeah,
educate because that's the only way we kind of move forward and get better.
exactly. And it doesn't have to be a formal way of teaching at all. Um, even informal teaching, there's informal ways of instruction that are oftentimes like more helpful than sitting down and listing out, here's everything that you need to know.
It's
So
all about the experience,
yeah. Hmm.
experiences. We remember those.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, if you had any last thoughts or any last pieces of wisdom for our high schoolers, what would it be?
Hmm. I think I would say, because I'm speaking from experience, is try to find confidence in yourself, because you have something that you can share with the world. It doesn't have to be music, it doesn't have to be visual art. It can be, whatever, just your life experience and your views. And as long as you can find confidence in what you believe, then you can share that with other people and make connections. And I think that leads to a lot of success down the road.
Well said.
Thank you.
So, Colin, thank you very much for being part of our interview.
Absolutely.